blogger.
New data showing that American high schools may not be doing enough to prepare teens for college. The Wall Street Journal reporting that just 24% of 2010 grads who took the ACT college entrance exam have the skills needed to pass college entry-level courses. That may sound bad, but sadly it's actually up from last year's rate slightly. Last year it was only 23%.
Another huge problem facing America's public schools, the national graduation rate for African-American males. It's at 47%, according to a new report. Some of the worst figures coming out of Philadelphia, Detroit, two counties, including Miami and Fort Lauderdale down in Florida, and also right here where we are in New York City. Mary Snow tracking this story for us, and alarming, this new report.
Absolutely. I mean, these numbers are just staggering. And along with that finding that TJ just told you about, the report also found wide gaps between graduation rates for black and white males. TJ just mentioned New York City. Here in New York City, for example, it found a roughly 40% gap. Taking a look inside America's classrooms, a new report finds some of the lowest graduation rates for black males in districts with a large black male student population. Only 28% of black males graduate on time in New York City. The same is true in Philadelphia and Detroit. John Jackson is the president of the Schott Foundation for Public Education, an advocacy group working to level the playing field in education.
When you look at states with 10, 15, 20, 30 percentage point gaps between the graduation rate for black males and white males, what it says is we know how to educate our children. We just don't extend those conditions and resources to this certain population.
Jackson notes exceptions, with Newark, New Jersey at the top of the list after officials more effectively targeted resources. And Newark now has a 76% graduation rate among black males, with Fort Bend, Texas, and Baltimore not far behind. One key to success, Jackson says, early education.
If we don't ensure that students, not just black male, but all students are literate by third grade, you will begin to see some of the factors that are really the result of their inability to read come into place, whether they're behavior factors, whether it's having them get behind in other subjects.
And there are lessons learned from schools like the Frederick Douglass Academy, a public school in Harlem, where the motto is, without struggle, there is no progress. Principal Gregory Hodge says nearly 75% of his students are black. All 225 students in the class of 2010 are going to college.
We have a student here that was accepted to almost every Ivy League in the country.
Besides starting college prep in the 6th grade, Hodge says he keeps the school open 7 days a week, with clubs for everything from sports to robotics.
What happens is when you open up the school, and you know every child's different, you got to find something that the child's interested in so that you can hook them in and keep them off the streets.
And while this school and others are considered beacons of light, the Schott Foundation says the problem is they are exceptions. Now, the Schott Foundation says while it focused its findings in this report on black males, this report is a call to action for all students. It shows graduation rates for white students in many locations are also alarmingly low, and that the U.S. is falling behind other countries when it comes to education and where it ranks.
It is scary.
Absolutely.
You know, we've known that the numbers were low for so many years, but to get this, a lot of people say a definitive report that's put together, 47%.
And then when you see some of these places like the Frederick Douglass Academy, the other school that we profiled in New York City a few weeks ago, I mean, they're seeing things that work and obviously putting it to the test. He said all of his graduating classes, they've been accepted to college.
Right.
It's amazing that there's just such a big difference.
But the point that John Jackson made, who's the head of the Schott Foundation, he said, you know, we see these beacons of light. We often focus on them. And it's good to focus on them, but he said the story that really needs to be told is the thousands upon thousands of kids that are falling through the cracks and who are being neglected.
All right, Mary Snow, we appreciate you this morning. We're not done with this topic, though. At 8:40 Eastern Time, I'm going to be talking more about this with our education contributor, Steve Perry. He'll be here live with us. He's the principal and founder of Capital Prep Magnet School in Hartford, Connecticut.
All right. Well, we look forward to it. Mary, by the way, is a lifelong New Yorker, I have to say, who also didn't know that there were Five Guys burger joints around this place. See? Lifelong New Yorker. Apparently, we haven't been looking hard enough because we've been getting a little ribbing. We did